Yeah, I mean, I used to back in the, when I first started this stuff, I used to react emotionally all the time. And
Really?
yeah, I mean, but it wasn't towards like the business. It was like just social media bullshit where I'm just like, fuck you, man. Like, I don't know, like, whatever. But I used to let that stuff get to me. And then one day, I don't know, I just woke up and realized like it wasn't worth my time and I have way more important things to worry about.
Yeah.
And there's always going to be people that are going to hate on whatever it is that you do. People hate success. So I'm just like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
He was just going to try to blow smoke up wherever. Like, they're going to say what they're going to say and there's nothing I can do about it. I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. What's going on, guys? We're in a little bit different scenery here. Still a barcast, but it's such a nice day out and we're still in Baltimore City.
It's a rooftop barcast.
It's a rooftop barcast.
Rooftop.
There you go. Look, there's Brewers Hill right behind Christian, so it's close enough. We're right behind
which side is it?
the old Natty Bay building.
It's on that
your
side.
right side. There you go. So close enough, right? But it's a beautiful day out, and we had a lot going on in the last couple of days already. And for me, you're dealing with employee loss or attrition issues, and I, in a sense, am as well. We didn't let, Keiko decided to move on his own, which I couldn't be happier for him. It's sad to see him go and leave the community, but I get it, and I don't know. It's weird for me.
Yeah, so it's ironic how we're both dealing with it at the same time.
Yeah.
We were like, yeah, just talk about attrition. And I was like, did you hear what I was talking about? I was on the phone, like, talking about that topic. And not actually with me, but like with one of my clients has been dealing with it.
Yeah.
It's an interesting conversation because of the impact it has on an organization. And with you, I mean, literally finding out today, right?
Yeah.
You found out today?
Yeah.
My client's a little bit further along, but it's interesting to think about what then the next dominoes are, and not necessarily like dominoes to fall, but like there is an impact, and what are the next steps for you, and how does that impact you, the culture of your organization, and also the decisions you make with the organizations or the way you shift in whatever your strategic plan is.
Right. Yeah, and for me, it was a weird feeling. I woke up first thing in the morning and was just like grumpy shit, but because I was like, whatever. But I was never, I never had any kind of feelings of animosity towards Pat.
Yeah.
But it was still like, man, like you have that initial feeling of like, well, what am I doing wrong? But at the same time, I had to just take a step back and be like, listen, there's always growing pains with every business that starts up, and I'm sure there's some gripes that Pat has had that we've tried to remedy, and it's not necessarily like, I don't even think that he was like, screw these guys, and he never like gave off that kind of vibe. But I think it's perfectly normal for people to just want to branch off on their own, especially in this business. Competition always seems to be really stiff. And I don't think that, Pat's ever going to stick it to us or anything like that. I never, ever, had that feeling. But it still sucks. And I'm still trying to, this is so fresh that I'm still trying to just kind of figure out my way through it all. But I'm not nearly as, pissed off or, have this crazy anxiety feeling like I thought I might have if somebody was just to up and leave. And I think part of that's probably because he is leaving gracefully, and there's no conflict and then you leave. It's not like a reaction.
Well, it's also the end of your contract, right?
Yeah. So we have our contract that is ending.
So you had an agreement.
Yeah.
He honored his agreement. You honored your agreement.
Right.
And so technically, it's all framing, right?
Yeah.
So if I'm putting my coach's hat on, and what I talk to my clients about is, it's interesting to hear you talk, and it's like most people would talk. You're actually talking, for lack of a better way to say it, but you're talking selfishly.
Yeah.
You're immediately
Right.
going to, how does this impact me?
Yeah.
Right. And so the way you frame it, and what I encourage my clients to do is consider how you frame it, because it's not that you're losing somebody, right? That you could say, okay, yeah, we had an agreement, we had a good run, and what are our goals for our mentors? What are our goals for our employees in general, which only you can answer.
Right.
But I can speak for the organizations I have. Somebody going on isn't a loss, isn't a negative thing.
Yeah.
To me, it's a great thing. And if you look at it from the perspective of like celebrating him, and I know you're happy for him, I'm not saying that.
Absolutely.
But if your first thought is, wow, like, what does that mean for Kiko, and how can he grow it, and like the opportunities he's going to have? We've talked about this sort of off camera. His success, We Trade HQ, is a part of that journey, and you can take credit for that.
We incubated that.
Yeah. And so you were a step in that direction. And so to me, I get excited to think about, okay, now who do we replace him with? Who do we bring on to the mix? Because it's like dating. You know, if you think about your relationships, at least for me, every relationship has been better than the last because we've now benchmarked.
Right.
So my theory is that if that's in play, the next mentor you're going to get is going to be as good, if not better than Kiko. And so that should get you excited because now there's an opportunity.
Yeah, it does. And honestly, the first message that I sent him was that, like, I hope that he does crush it, and I expect him to. It wasn't even like an expectation of like, oh well,
will or won't he?
Yeah, or kick rocks or whatever.
Yeah.
But I expect him to succeed, and I hope that he does. And to your point, I think it also just like, and he even said, if it wasn't for We Trade HQ, then like I would have never even thought that I was capable of doing something like this. So I do take some credit. I guess some credit in that, and makes me feel a little bit better about the whole situation. I think, to your point though, I guess to kind of push back a little bit, it is a good thing when somebody leaves and moves on to become a better version of themselves. But I think there's also that part of they're just leaving because they hate where they work. So, which I don't think is a good thing. So,
yeah, for sure.
There's got to be, I guess, both sides of that coin. So in this instance, it's a good thing. Everybody feels good about it. But it was whatever that you were dealing with earlier, just on the phone. Was it the same situation as I'm going through, or was it something different?
It was a situation a little further down where the dominoes fell. Like we're a few dominoes down. So like, what I mean by that is that there's going to be an impact on the organization. There's going to be a reaction to the organization. Yeah, there always is. And so our knee-jerk reaction is to live in emotion. Right. And the hardest thing to do is really respond and look at the situation objectively and figure out the next steps. And so with this situation, my client had not intended to lose somebody, had let somebody go. Yeah. And then immediately after, I think that situation was a frustrating situation. And then almost immediately after, had a conversation with another employee who nobody expected would be out of the organization, but basically gave an ultimatum of like, okay, do you want to be here? Do you not want to be here? Right. And so I think I wondered, was the first situation, and did that play into the next situation? And so what I worry about, especially in hospitality, especially in small businesses, if you're the business owner, it's hard for you not to take it personally, because if they leave the business, they're leaving you. Right. Right? If you're just a manager of any organization that's not your own, if you leave the business, you can put it off on anything else. But as an owner, you know this, like anything that happens to We Trade HQ, even if it's somebody else is doing, you feel personally responsible. Absolutely, yeah. And so what, my client, I think, is kind of dealing with is like how to reconcile that and to not take it personally and to not feel like now everybody's against him, or even just now that they're short-staffed, he's feeling the pressure and feeling the strain, and his objectivity changes, and also his patience has now shortened, like his fuse is short, and so I think it starts impacting the organization, and now, they've seen more turnover. With turnover, sometimes comes more turnover. Yeah. And I guess probably it comes down to like people's personalities. Yeah. Because I could very easily just take offense to the whole situation instead of reacting in the way that I did. And I'm not trying to pat myself on the back. What I'm trying to say is that because I've been able to develop a thick enough skin and also have enough self-awareness to just be like, he's
with Kiko coming on to us, you could already tell that he had a very entrepreneurial mind.
Yeah.
And for most entrepreneurs, they're not trying to answer to
yeah.
people. So it was kind of, you saw the writing on the wall well before today happened. And so that's why I'm trying to be as encouraging as I can, because we need more entrepreneurs, especially like him. Like, he just grinds it out. He has a full-time job. He works, he has kids at home, and then he does this and then trades. So like, he's a stereotypical entrepreneur. So to see him move on and try to build his own community, I mean, I couldn't be happier for him in that sense. And so it's easier for me, I guess, to just kind of like slough away.
Is slough a word?
I don't know. I was trying to come up with like something.
Slough.
You know, people in my mentorship, they were
Dava,
like,
can you guys look up the word slough, please, and like maybe put the definition there? I don't
push
even know how
away,
to spell it.
push away. Some, you know, people in mentorship, they didn't know what skosh meant.
Skosh?
Yeah, is
Like
that a Maryland thing?
Bosch?
No, like skosh, like a smidgen.
Oh, skosh, yeah. No, I
Like-
don't use that a lot.
But you know what it like.
Yeah, I know what it is.
They came up to me and they were like, "What the hell is skosh?" And I was like, "What do you mean you don't know what skosh is?" But I didn't think that was.
I don't
like
use that word.
I didn't think it was a geographical thing.
Yeah, like hun.
Yeah, like Han.
Um,
But no, I think like being able to push away some of the stuff that came up. And like I said, when I woke up this morning, that was my initial reaction. 5-10 minutes, I just kind of let myself think about it, and I was like, I need to redirect my way of thinking here, because like this is a good thing.
so how much of you? So you said you kind of saw it coming,
Yeah,
right? And,
yeah.
and we've had those conversations. How much of that sort of lead up and you processing in your mind helped you handle the situation when it happened?
That's a good point. So like I obviously was mentally prepared for that.
So like my client was not,
Right.
and that's where he wasn't able. It's almost like you were able to play it out in your head, or understand, and that's not a bad thing. It's not fake or anything like that. It's like, okay, you want, as a manager, as a business person, you want to try to recreate moments as much as you can and visualize how you're going to respond, which will increase the likelihood that you'll respond appropriately when it happens.
Yeah, and that's fair. I guess I don't know how I would react if it was something that was unexpected. But I feel as if it was unexpected, then I'm not. There's two things. If it was unexpected, then somebody was either, I feel like, maybe just trying to go around my back and not do things very
Sure.
ethically, or the other thing is that I wasn't paying enough attention to my mentors or employees or whatever
Yeah, yep.
to be able to know what's going on. Like, I don't have a pulse on things like I thought I should, and then I need some self-reflecting and having a little bit more self-awareness about what's going on in my company.
That's a really good point. And basically, you don't have the finger on the pulse of of your business,
Right,
and you
right.
always should. I mean, as a business, you should know whether you're going to go inside or outside. If you go inside outside, you'll know what the result's going to be, right?
Right.
If you like, you're going to put them on the run, and if you put them on the run, you keep them on the run, right?
Right. You couldn't just roll with it.
I had to. So with that said, I took it a little far. But bringing it back, that's important. That's an important point to make. And so you had the awareness about your business. And I mean, I'm playing devil's advocate. The reality is, even if you were blindsided by it, I don't think you would have. I think you would have still responded similarly. Maybe it would have taken a little bit longer.
Yeah.
But I think you would have responded differently. You're not a person you've never sort of emotionally responded. You've processed things regardless, which is a good trait.
Yeah, I mean, I used to back in the, when I first started this stuff, I used to react emotionally all the time. And
Really?
yeah, I mean, but it wasn't towards like the business. It was like just social media bullshit where I'm just like, fuck you, man. Like, I don't know, like whatever. But I used to let that stuff get to me. And then one day, I don't know, I just woke up and realized like it wasn't worth my time and I have way more important things to worry about.
Yeah.
And there's always going to be people that are going to hate on whatever it is that you do. People hate success. So I'm just like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
He was just going to try to blow smoke up wherever. Like, they're going to say what they're going to say, and there's nothing I can do about it. I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing.
Well, so I want to talk a little bit about the transition process and how a company deals with somebody moving on, especially because in a way, Kiko will be your competitor,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And you and I would imagine, we haven't talked about this, but I think we're similarly aligned on this too. But I think there's enough to go around for everybody.
Absolutely.
And to your point about entrepreneurs, I think anybody who's going to be successful as a mentor with WeTrade HQ is probably going to have that entrepreneurial drive.
Yeah.
Right. So with that said, we're going to run the risk of everybody moving on. So we almost have a choice to like embrace it or push it away. Hey, or push it away. And I think that it just shows greater maturity if you support it. And then I would argue that maybe it would increase the likelihood that more people would love your business and enjoy your business and be and also want to work with the company to know like maybe WeTrade HQ doubles down. Maybe WeTrade HQ offers an opportunity for people to move on and take the step. And like we're successful only if you can go end up doing your own thing.
Well, and I'll take that a step further too, because I think that even though he's going to be a potential competitor, he could also still be an asset because we're leaving on good terms and we still have a good relationship. I mean, there's plenty of times where people, especially just starting out as entrepreneurs, they're going to go to their future competitors and see, like, they should be anyway. If they're not, if you're starting off in a business, you should be reaching out to your potential competitors and being just like, hey, how did you get to where you're at now? And then hopefully, if they're, good at what they do, they'll be able to give you that advice as far as like how they were able to find success. And because there's no secret to it. There's just experiences that you've gone through, and then you get to share them, and that's it.
And there's nothing really proprietary. And so, with that said, you also never know how your company is going to evolve.
Yeah.
What if the company evolves a year or 2 years from now, and it's no longer doing mentorships, or it pivots?
Right.
Then they're no longer a competitor, and they could be complementary in that. So he can certainly be an asset, even an advocate for the company.
Right.
And I think that's the legacy that at least I would want my company to have, is like I encourage people to move on and to succeed and, to be able to work together in the future potentially.
For sure.
So it's pretty awesome.
I guess, we touched on it a little bit earlier, but when you are going through something that maybe employees are leaving and it's not on good terms, or it's because of maybe something that you're doing wrong, how is it that you feel, in your opinion, it should get handled? As far as like developing that like for your client, maybe he's, super upset about it, but is there something that maybe you try to talk him off the ledge?
So what the best thing, the one thing I see companies don't do that fall into that category is the best thing they can do is do an exit interview.
Yeah.
And they usually don't want to hear the hard truth, and they shouldn't. Somebody neutral, objective. Small businesses don't usually have HR, but they should have somebody responsible for exit interviews and get to the root of it. Just because we didn't work out as an organization for you, or we didn't deliver on that, doesn't mean that we can't work out from a consumer level. Right. So even though somebody's leaving unhappy, doesn't mean they don't love the company. Many people love their company but just can't work with the situation. And so at least you could salvage that, and maybe they can still again be an advocate. So there should be a level of reflection. Even if you think it was great, there should always be a level of reflection, and a piece of that reflection process should be the exit interview, where you're gathering the information, because as you gather more information, then you could see trends and recognize trends and try to mitigate it in the future and decide if you want to address it or not address it. You may decide it's fine.
I think exit interview is a great idea, even though it's tough. I'm still probably going to end up doing it with Pat, and I'm sure there's going to be stuff that I don't want to hear, but at the same time, you just kind of need to. It's almost kind of like giving yourself that tough love. But at the end of the day, I think it's going to help your business more than anything else, and really kind of aids in giving you that self-awareness. Maybe if you feel like you're up here, your head's a little bit big, and you kind of get knocked down a few pegs, it gives you a little bit more perspective on just how well your company's being ran.
Yeah, for sure, I agree.
So, I feel like that's it. I just wanted to do something real quick, just because this is something that we were like deep into right now. What?
Do we tell the Easter egg?
No, there is an Easter egg. We're going to put it in the comments. But Christian pretty much gave it away anyway. You just
But
have
they
to
still have to know what it is.
Yeah.
Even though they can identify.
So, just to give you an idea of what's going on, where we thought that we'd do something fun in the middle of our conversations, we'll just throw out a movie quote, which Christian did and was not very good at transitioning into just normal conversation. But if you know what it is, leave comments in below of what movie he just quoted in our little barcast here.
Yes, and we actually did it the last.
We did it with the last one too, just to try to see if we could do it, which was way more flawless than this time around. But leave comments. We'll pin the comments at the top of the list.
I don't think anybody's going to get it. Do
Yeah.
you know what it is?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
If you know what it is, put it in the comments. We'll pin it to the top if you get it right. And that's it for me. Thanks so much for tuning in. Please give this a thumbs up and subscribe if you want to see more content such as this. That's it for me. Thanks, Christian. As always, I'll see y'all before the bell. MB Smith is out.